Heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Derek, and I'm one of the members of the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed so you will never miss a moment. First of all, it is great to be back, guys. I was at summer camp all last week with a bunch of Boy Scouts. Think Animal Kingdom in July for an entire week. It was hot and miserable. But glad to be back here and glad to be welcoming in the other members of the Plus Platoon who are with us tonight. So let's welcome in Peter. Pete, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. It was not Animal Kingdom hot here in Buffalo last week. It was very nice, but I'm happy to be here and talking about Luca.
Good. Yeah. And we also have Rebecca. Rebecca, how you doing this evening, girl?
Good. I work every day in Animal Kingdom hot, so I know exactly how you're feeling, Derek. And guys, the intro made me miss Kate.
Yeah. Kate's at a wedding, I believe, this evening. Not hers, but she's at a wedding. And then Sam and Brian are whisking their way airborne, I believe, to Disneyland.
I think so.
They're there. Yeah. They've been there for a couple of days. Yeah.
Then they're heading. Then I think they may be. I know they're in the air somewhere. So if they're not watching us on the plane, better be watching us later.
Yeah. Right.
So, as I said, we are the Plus Platoon, and I think the first thing we're going to talk about, as always, is the Disney Plus news. Pete, what is our news this week?
All right, so there's one new show that's been announced in the last week, and that is Turning the Tables with Robin Roberts, which will start on July 28th. It's a roundtable discussion with Roberts and a variety of female celebrities, and I think this will be an interesting show. I'm looking forward to it. In addition, the latest news is that with, the success of Loki, that Disney has announced that it is going to move most of the TV show premieres and shows to Wednesday instead of on Friday. If a show has already been on Friday, it will continue to premiere on Friday. So things like High School Musical, the series, will continue to premiere on Friday. But as of July 7th, new shows will premiere on Wednesdays. Movies will continue to still premiere on Fridays. And speaking of which, this Friday, we have a new show called The Mysterious Benedict Society, and it will, again, start and stay on Fridays. Stars Tony Hale, and it's based on a set of young adult novels that I hear are very good, and so we're going to be watching that coming up next week's episode. But that's the news for right now on Disney+.
Sounds great. And next week's little spoiler, we will be talking about that first episode. So make sure you're watching that starting Friday. This week, Pixar has released Luca, and it came out in general release to everybody. They didn't go Disney Premium on this one. So I'm going to ask you guys, Rebecca, is it a keeper or does it need to be tossed back? What do you think, Rebecca?
You guys, we're definitely keeping this movie around. I had such genuine joy watching the movie. It's such a natural story. I hadn't really read or watched any of the reviews about it or the trailers going forward. And so I didn't really know what it was about. And to see just a genuine connection between Luca and Alberto and then Julia when she gets introduced, it was just so easy to watch. There wasn't any hard-hitting trauma or no dying parents as Disney is known for. You know, it was just something that was so easy to sit and watch and laugh at. And the little scene at the end where the grandma is like, take off their umbrella and they become monsters. I remember screaming to Willie, like, somebody else needs to turn into a monster. And then right away it happened. And I was like, that is exactly what I was hoping for at the end. So I loved it. I'm definitely going to keep it, probably watch it again later on to see some more of like the Easter eggs that I missed and stuff like that. But yeah, Derek, what are you thinking? And I, please.
You ever wonder
No.
if Howard Ashman and Alan Menken had done no songs for The Little Mermaid and there wasn't a talking crab, and then you mix it with the DreamWorks Turbo about the race that everyone wants to win with the jerk? If you've seen those two, you don't need to see Luca.
Oh, okay? What a pooper.
No.
Such a pooper.
Now, visually stunning. Visually completely stunning. I would have been very upset if I had to pay $30 to see this on premium. Okay. I think they did Soul a disservice by not releasing it either in the theaters or on premium. They made the right call on this one to me. This was a direct to video release. This one didn't need to be in the theaters. So, Pete, I'm guessing I'm outnumbered again. So what'd you think?
You are outnumbered because I'm with Rebecca on this one. I enjoyed this a lot. Is it the greatest Pixar movie ever? Definitely not. It is a very light movie, I will say. Very, and I will agree. Like the at the beginning of the movie, Luca's like collecting all these things, and I'm like singing, "I want to be where the people are." It was very Little Mermaid early on, but I think it recovered from that. And I just I found it very, very, very funny. Probably the funniest Pixar movie since, oh my gosh, I don't know, maybe Inside Out. I don't know. It was very funny. It was definitely, I would say, the best Pixar movie since Coco. And it's hard for me on one watching to judge where I would rank it. But I wouldn't rank it with the very best Pixar movies. It didn't have, to me, like that deeper level that some Pixar movies do, and even like Soul did, though I think I like this better than Soul. But it definitely, it definitely didn't have particularly something to say other than maybe a tolerance message. But even that wasn't very heavy. It was a very light movie, but it was funny and it was fun. And as you said, it was very beautiful. And I just, my wife and I both enjoyed the heck out of it. The animation, as that's just standard for Pixar. And the opposite of you, I kind of wish it had been in the theaters. And of the last few Pixars, I did not like Onward very much. Soul was okay, but I haven't revisited it. This I'll actually go back. I'll definitely go back and watch this one.
Yeah.
So I really liked it a lot. I thought a lot of the running gags were funny. The mom and dad like throwing water on all the kids and dunking them in the water. That whole part, like any part of that, was just laugh out loud. And the way Julia would like curse and say, Santa rigatoni or Santa spaghetti. Yeah. She just kept what? Okay. It was just, I don't know. I just found it as funny as I've found a Pixar movie in a long time, because a lot of them lately have been more serious subject and, in a way not going for the laugh. And this thing was just very light and laugh filled, and I enjoyed it. So
I feel like I didn't really think it was all funny, like laugh out loud funny. But I kept a smile on my face the whole time. Like I was just watching it and I just enjoyed pretty much the whole story. That I was just constantly sitting there like, oh, that was cute. That was sweet. Like that's,
yeah.
And
it had its serious moments, like when, you find out and you kind of knew it was coming that Alberto's father kind of deserted him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it still had those, those emotional moments.
Yeah. I was the shocking moment that I did not expect coming was when Alberto went into the water, and Luca's initial reaction was just to be like, sea monster. And, he didn't embrace that part of him. That was the one part that I was like, oh, like I was not expecting that. And so, yeah, that was probably the most serious moment of it. And I think the overall message of the movie kind of reaches more towards kids rather than us, our older people, because it just, be yourself. Find people, find friends that accept you for who you are, who love you no matter what, or don't. And so I thought that message really, really strung to more of a younger generation than.
Yeah, it was definitely more of a kids movie than some of the more because again, Soul almost to me wouldn't appeal to kids.
Soul was very much mine, and existential crisis. What do I do after college? I don't know if my life has any meaning, and I
it was like two. Not again. I'm not saying it was a bad movie. It was a very good movie, but it was definitely not strictly made for kids, or the heart of the story. I mean, there was funny parts to it, the guy going into the cat or whatever, but there was definitely a heavier level to it. This did not have a heavy level. This was definitely just a fun animated movie, and so for me, I liked it on that level, and I do think that from a kid's point of view, this movie would be very popular with kids.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say the younger audience, I can totally see that. I also like the fact I connected with the ending better in this than I did in Raya. I am known as a big crybaby at movies. I'm always tearing up at the end of the movies. Stuff happens. I teared up a little bit at the end of this one. I did not at the end of Raya. So I will say I made a better connection to the characters in this one. But I mean,
I didn't tear up at Raya. Well, actually, I didn't tear up at this either. But I have at Pixar movies before.
Yeah. No, I'm the opposite. I teared up at Raya the whole last 10 minutes of it, and I didn't do anything at all for Luca. So
okay, the one thing I would say, and again, it was a light movie, so this is part of being light. Is the whole movie is oh, you can't reveal that you're a sea monster because the whole town will want to be out to get you. And then at the end, they reveal that they're a sea monster, and the whole town's kind of
yeah,
except for the bad guy. But and so it's kind of there wasn't a big heavy moment at the end that you were kind of maybe expecting. But again, it was fine. It was just a fun little movie. I don't know. It was I enjoyed it.
Okay.
So
Willie says a cute feel good story about friendship. Definitely he thought it was a keeper. So I mean. I think that's a lot of expectations is what did you expect going into this? If you just want out, and the hour and a half running time on it should have been a tip off, because that is closer to the running time of the old classic Disney's, right? Cinderella, Peter Pan, they were all under an hour and a half.
Yep.
As opposed to, I know Toy Story's almost 2. So
yeah,
right. A lot of the more recent Pixar's are closer to 2. And it was, as I said, it was if you wanted a typical Pixar movie that has, I'm going to say Inside Out or Soul or, even Coco, where there's this heavy underpinning of, adult themes. It did not have
it's
that.
Not yet.
Okay, but can we talk about the almost chef from Little Mermaid-ish dad of Julia's father, who quite
Little Mermaid.
It was so, I thought, I know who they are. They are Luca and Alberto. And I was theyey're not. He was monsters. They're just little kids.
Actually, he reminded me of the dad from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I don't know if you guys saw that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little, because he's he seems like he's really gruff, and then at the end he kind of warms up. But
the first scene you see of him is chopping the fish head off.
Yeah.
And that's reminded me of the chef from
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
There was definitely some Little Mermaid vibe in this movie, but
okay,
but no songs.
Right. Now, one of the big things they have in this is they want a Vespa. That's their dream. That's what they have. So the question I have is, what was your Vespa? What is the thing that you have wanted and dreamed about for, long time and finally got to have happen because you worked hard for it and planned for it? For me, My Vespa was being able to stay at the Contemporary Resort at Disney World. That was a dream of mine from being a little kid, because that was the cool hotel. We always drove over every day and came back, and that was the cool hotel. And so that was I got to work for it, got to keep, saving up our money. Can we afford to stay there this time? No. Okay, well, maybe if I take an extra job next time. And finally, for the 2016 marathon weekend, we got to stay at Bay Lake Tower at the Contemporary. And I will say, being able to ride that monorail and get off and have my hotel room right there it was everything I had dreamed of, because it's one of those, to me, that was the pinnacle of being able to stay at Disney. So that was my Vespa. Pete, what was your Vespa? What did you want?
So thinking about, like, there's a couple ways to look at it, right? At that age, I think it wasn't a Vespa, but it was like my first car. When I was maybe not as young as these kids, because these seem more like 10, 11. But when I was like 14, 15, it was about getting that first car. And, so I had a paper route, believe it or not, back, I'm an old guy, back when there were newspapers, and, saving up my money and getting that I had a 77 Pontiac Sunbird. This was in like 1980, so it was about 10 years old. it was not in the best condition, but it was my first car. And that was the thing that I was like, oh, I really want this first car. More recently, it's a harder thing. I like to travel. So anytime I get to go somewhere new, a few years ago, we went to my wife and I went to Italy. My wife is a big fan of Italy. I've never been as big a fan. And we went to Italy, and we didn't go to quite where this movie is set, but we did go to the Amalfi Coast, which is similar. Okay. And, so that would be like my probably now thing, is like whenever I can take a big trip like that and really see somewhere unique. And, I really enjoyed Italy. So that was kind of neat watching the movie too. It kind of had a link to it. But what about you, Rebecca?
So I have two. When I was a little girl, and I mean the tiniest one, I have had dreams of owning a little shop on the beach that sells all different types of boards. It was called Boards, and it literally was surfboards, boogie boards, paddle boards, skateboards, just all different types of boards. I was a very outdoorsy person, and I still kind of have this dream, but it's more of a, man, it's just one of those. And now I kind of get to kind of live it, because I live in Florida by the beach all the time, and I work at Disney as a lifeguard and stuff. And so I'm constantly just by the water. So I'm a little bit reliving it, but there's always just this little small part of me that just wishes I owned this store, just full of boards. Now I would say, and I'm still kind of reaching for this, is my own classroom. So I know that Derek, you are a teacher. I know we have Chad's wife as a teacher. Jean is a teacher. Since I was in high school, have just dreamed about just having my own classroom. I want to have my own elementary classroom and theme it the way that I want to, and host my parties for Valentine's Day and Christmas week and Thanksgiving, and just get to live out this fantasy of changing lives for kids and stuff, and just getting to make it my own place. So still searching for that, still reaching for it. Definitely in my fingertips right now with graduation and the end of the semester, but definitely my own classroom.
Those are very cool.
Right. Yeah, Thanks. That's very cool.
And do any of our listeners have anything? We got a few people on the live.
Got a few people watching. I will say I thought of one other thing, and I didn't count it as my Vespa because I never actually got one. An original Nintendo. The original Nintendo video game system. Because that was when I was 8, 10 years old, being able to play Mario Brothers, being able to play Duck Hunt, having the gun and being able to shoot it at the screen was just, okay, guys, think a Wii, but you have this little gun and it's just weird. Or Toy Story Mania, maybe. And best part was
I know what Duck Hunt is. So.
Yeah. Being able to shoot the dog at the bottom. But So
The
that was
dog.
my
Come on,
dream.
Derek.
Yeah, you got to shoot the dog because he has this little lily that comes up and he goes that, and and then of course you sit right next to the TV and hold it right up against the pixels, and so you can kind of cheat that way. But anyway, I never actually got one. We had an old Atari growing up, but I was working, and my two teachers, and my mom didn't even start teaching until I was in middle school or high school, so not a lot of cash around. So, but that would kind of been the one that was never attained for me. So, Okay, well, as we traditionally do, how many cups of pixie dust would you give it? We're giving it out of 1 to 5. How many cups of pixie dust are you going to give this movie, Pete?
So I thought about this a lot because I really enjoyed the movie, but it was not quite up there with the greatest of Pixar for me. So I will give it 4 cups of pixie dust. I think, again, I really enjoyed it. It was a very light movie. I think it's rewatchable. Is it going to be in like the pantheon of greatest movies? I don't think so, but it was a fun movie. So that's where I'm rating it, 4 to 5. Rebecca?
That surprises me because I was going to give it a 4, but something about the number 4 just like feels too much. Like I loved the movie. I really, really did enjoy liking it, but I would almost say like 3.9999999 is better of a rating than 4, only because 4 I would put at like Inside Out. I would put Soul at a 4 for me. I would put, and they're way better than Onward was. But so I'm going to do the 3.999 forever and ever repeating, only because it's just not that 4 or 5 quality, but it was still an amazing movie that I will watch.
You can do
again.
3.5. I don't know how fractionated we can have this rating though, but
no,
so
it's got the little dash,
4 basically.
The little dash is on top of it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Derek.
For me, 2.5. Yeah, which is right about where it's actually I would watch Raya again before I'd watch this.
100%.
Depending on what I was trying to do. If it's just I have to have something on to go to sleep, this is going to make me think a whole lot less. So I'd probably pick this. But if I was actually going to sit and watch it with someone, I'd rather watch Raya. So 2.5, and to me, I feel like I'm being kind of generous there. But yeah, it was not my thing. So
the one thing I would say, as I said, I think the kids 10 and under. I think this is a great movie for younger kids versus some of the Pixar movies, which can definitely have a little bit heaviness to them. Would be my one thing. I'm a big kid at heart, so maybe that's why I liked it so much.
Okay. Jake has joined us. Jake said he'd give it a 3, middle of the Pixar pack. Great movie, but can't compete with my All-Stars, Toy Story, Incredibles, Cars, etc. See, Jake, I think and Good Dinosaur should be in a box set. And I know he loves Good Dinosaur. It's my bottom Pixar movie. So
Good Dinosaur. I
don't like Good Dinosaur,
it, but
yeah.
So,
and I wouldn't put Incredibles is like here, and Cars is kind of. So I would actually put this between those. I'm not a big Cars.
Really?
First Cars, I like the first Cars. I think I would put this higher than Cars.
I love the soundtrack of Cars, but I don't know about the actual. To me, the actual movie's all right. The soundtrack was amazing.
Yeah. Maybe on par with the first Cars. The Cars definitely not.
Yeah. Incredibles 2. This is down there with that one. It's so.
What's wrong with you, Derek?
Incredibles. No, I like the Incredibles. Incredibles 2 just got long and weird. So
no, I liked the. I would agree it's not as good as the first one, but
the newest Incredibles was good though.
I thought it was good.
That was 2. So
the first one is
really?
Yeah.
The first one, the first Incredibles is definitely top 5 Pixar, and this is not top 5 Pixar.
Yeah, and Jake's saying Cars 1 should be up in his All-Stars.
I
agree with that.
The first one is very good.
I wasn't even considering the other Cars. I was Cars 1 for me is all right, but
Okay. The other thing we're going to talk about this week is the Big Shot wrapped up its season. So, Rebecca, what were your thoughts on the Big Shot finale and the season as a whole?
So the season, I thought, started out really, really strong. We were watching Big Shot at the same time as we were watching Mighty Ducks, and I loved Big Shot more than Mighty Ducks, mostly for the sense of I was able to relate to it more as a little older than a teenage girl who did sports in high school and college and just kind of knows that dynamic really well. And then the show just kind of dragged for me. Even though there was something new that happened every episode, I still felt like they weren't very rational things that were happening. I understand that the high school that they went to is a very private, higher end. Obviously, there was that whole episode with Luis's dad and, the money and stuff like that. So I know that this is not the most relatable environment ever, but it still felt like, if you've watched these shows, it felt very much like it was trying to be 90210 / Gossip Girl, and it just wasn't, it didn't fit all of that criteria for me. However, the finale I thought was better than like episodes 9, 8, 7, mostly because it wrapped up some of the things that I was looking forward to. We had been building up towards, is he going to take this new job? I'm obviously talking about Korn. Is he going to take this new job with the college and go back? You kind of knew that he wasn't, but secretly hoped that he would. I still don't like the dynamic between him and drama teacher. I feel like they could have very easily had made something happen between him and the assistant coach. I know that's like a cross of like irresponsible relationships, but now she's changing schools. Is there this possibility for next season? Something like that. So, and yeah, I thought that it wrapped up nicely. There were a couple things like the whole drama scene with him pulling the chairs out in the basketball arena was a little strange. I don't know why, he needed to scream at the ceiling and stuff. But overall, enjoyed it. We'll probably watch season 2. Yeah. Derek, what do you think?
I really hope there's not a season 2. I really hope there's not a season 2.
No.
The drama scene reminded me of, remember in the clock tower, the Mater scene where he's having the dream, or the pink elephant scene, or it's the classic dream scene of, oh my gosh, it's going so far off the deep end. And it's a case of, okay, I don't really want it to go that bad. I don't think anyone really thought he was actually going to take the college job.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't going to take the college job. I would not have had to watch the finale to be able to tell you what happened. And I would not have been able to watch the season to really have to tell you what happened after about episode 3. So, and confession, I skimmed the episodes up to the finale and don't feel like I really missed much. So, it's over for me. Pete?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing I'll say is, not really a show directed at me. I liked it okay. I did not mind watching it, but it was not something I would got in my way of. Like my wife was enjoying it, so we kept watching it. So we watched all the episode. My biggest issue with it is like every girl had to have like some big drama in their life, but then it kind of got like it happened and then it goes away. Like Louisa, Rebecca, you mentioned, is it Louise?
Yeah.
Louise, her dad gets arrested and they take the name off the gym. And so it's this big plot point for like 2 episodes and then it's gone. It's not mentioned
and then you don't even find out until that assistant Carlsbad coach comes in and is like, heard you to take the plea. And then you're just, oh, okay. I guess that's,
and then
that's
the same thing with, what's her name? Olive, the girl that was on Instagram. And then it turned out she was faking that she was rich and everything like that. And there was this big drama that her parents were going to take her out of school. And then that gets brushed on, then that just completely goes away. And it's just like, it's weird that even though they had all these like big dramas for each person, they would just go away quickly. And it's just, I don't know. And then that it was clearly, again, a show, we talked about this earlier, a show directed at young women, that like Marvin Korn was such a focus of the show, just seemed like I think it would have been a better show if it had focused more on the girls, which it did, but like he was like 50% of the show and the girls were like 50% of the show. And I think like less of him and more of the girls, and like bringing those series out a little more. I mean, I know he's the star, but so I'm probably in between the two of you. Like if there's a second season, it's fine. It's not going to offend me. But if it doesn't come back, I wouldn't care either. So I don't know that I looked and it hasn't been renewed yet, but that seems like Disney Plus kind of does that. They wait till the show's over and then make the decision. So
like Mighty Ducks. Yeah,
like Mighty Ducks, we haven't heard yet either, right? Yeah. So it depends a lot on the ratings and or how much watching, right?
I will say that them wrapping everything up in an episode or two actually made it easier for me to skip episodes, because yes, there was his storyline, but the other plot lines being basically episode specific made it easier to not have to watch every episode, which to me is a plus on something that I'm not all that interested in. I can still jump into episode 8 or episode 10 and still know what's going on, basically. So.
Yeah. The only real drama is Holly going to take the job at Carlsbad, which I guess, I don't know. I just don't care.
Yeah.
The only reason that I had hoped that he would take the job was because there's just this little part of in me that like wanted to see the production of like a college team. I'm obsessed with watching videos on YouTube of like girls who are at like D1 colleges, and like they go through like their travel week and stuff, and like going and so I would love to just see that aspect of it, of like a college level type team. But that wasn't obviously for the show aspect and the story behind that, and mostly just because I wanted to see the insides of what Disney would think of as a college level, story and stuff. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Any last thoughts on the show?
No.
As I said, it was fine. It didn't hurt my feelings or anything, but probably about if we're gonna give it cups of pixie dust, probably for me at 2.5.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 2 or 3.
1. Yeah, 1. So
you don't like anything, do you, Derek?
No, let's put it this way: is there another Marvel show coming out soon? Because I'd rather watch it over Big Shot. So
there is a Marvel show that's going on right now.
Yeah, I know,
Derek.
And actually, that's holding my attention, but. That's coming next week. So next week we have, as Pete mentioned, the Mysterious Benedict Society premieres Friday. I'm really intrigued about that show. I've not read the books, but from some of the synopsis I'm seeing, it sounds totally different than anything that's been on Disney Plus so far. So that intrigues me. We will also be discussing episodes 2 and 3 of Loki that have come out. So last week's and this week's, which came out today, we will be discussing. I will once again not be here, but I believe the rest of the platoon will be. Yeah, I will be on the middle of a boat in the Florida Keys with a bunch of Boy Scouts again. So I will definitely
maybe we'll have an all positive episode.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute.
Well, not that you're not negative, but I mean, last week we all liked Rhea, right?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Last week it was just
last week was Loki, right? Yeah.
Loki. And I like Loki. I like Loki.
We were all pretty positive.
Yeah. So I liked Loki from last week. So, for those of you watching, if you have suggestions, because there's going to be a stretch in August and September where we're going to need stuff to watch. So please email us, plusplatoon@gmail.com.
August is looking a little barren when you look out at the at the shows coming out.
August and September is looking a little thin.
Yeah.
You can always get a hold of us on Facebook. Watch us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We will be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So other than that, guys, I hope you guys all have a good evening, and we will see everybody next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @PlusPlatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.